What's up, everybody? SuperX fan here for a last weekly update in the EcoBoost. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a shock to me too, and so that's why I'm doing this older fashioned style of the weekly update here, where I talk in the car first. And I'm not going to talk too much about it in this video because, you know, there's lots of news to go over and stuff, and I want to do a separate dedicated video on, you know, all the reasons why and whatnot. But if you've seen the title of this video, then you know that this is the last weekly update with the EcoBoost. And so the reason why is simply because I have decided to upgrade to a GT. After, especially this week, for sure, we all know that life is very short, and you know, just this is something I've been contemplating for a while, ever since you know, there was a lot of engines that blew up in April, and there was, you know, the little scares the car had given me over the past few months and stuff. You know, this idea of upgrading to a GT sooner rather than later was always a possibility. And whenever I even filmed back in the winter my video of when I plan to sell this car, I had originally said, you know, I want to wait for the 2018 model, the refreshed model that'll be coming out next year, or possibly some kind of Bullet or Mach 1 or something cooler like that. But the more that I thought about that, there's a lot of different reasons why I decided to upgrade now instead of then, and I will, like I said, I will go into all those reasons in a separate video because I don't want to make this weekly update 30 minutes long. So definitely stay tuned for that. It'll be posted up here probably tomorrow. But for the Cliff Notes version, basically it's just like, it was financially advantageous for me to upgrade to a GT now. It just made sense. The right car, the right deal came along, and you know, I still was pretty stressed and pretty paranoid about the EcoBoost and stuff. You know, I'm always second guessing, you know, whether I should take it on a long drive, because I'm, you know, nervous about a check engine light popping up for some random reason or something, you know, strange happening. You know, there were a lot of things with this car, like, you know, the smoking issue a few weeks ago, and things that, you know, Ford is still ironing out here with this EcoBoost platform. And so all those kind of things, it's just like, why give myself extra stress? Because fortunately, you know, because of the channel continuing to do well and things going well, you know, it personally and whatnot, I'm able to afford a GT now very comfortably. And so it's like, why would I, you know, put myself through extra stress? I mean, we all have enough stress in our lives. The last thing you want is for your car to stress you out. You want to have a car that you can enjoy completely worry-free and not have, you know, any kind of paranoia or worries and stuff. And I know I did a lot of that to myself just by simply modifying a car, which is never, you know, a good idea if you want a 100% OEM factory reliable thing, you know, not having a warranty and you know, that kind of stuff. You know, it's not cut out for everyone, and it simply wasn't for me. So, you know, I'm probably, when I do get the GT, probably keep it mostly stock. Definitely want to retain the warranty this time around. I learned my lesson, yeah, like I said, I will go into a lot more detail, but that's the short of it. Is just, you know, why put myself through unnecessary stress? The GT was always the one I eventually wanted to move up to eventually, and so this is just something that I figured, what the heck, might as well do it now, and all the, you know, conditions and everything lined up to be just right, to, you know, make it so that I went ahead and pulled the trigger. So I will be returning this one to stock here over the next few days. Still fun though, but I'll be returning it to stock, and then you know, once I get it back to stock, then I'm going to trade it in sometime early next week, hopefully. And so yeah, and as far as the parts on this car go, I'm still not decided on what I'm going to do, and you know, that whole thing. So there'll be more information about that if there's anyone that, you know, is interested in stuff on this car. I still have to figure out what exactly I'm going to do, or what I should do with the parts, since a lot of them were sponsor provided and whatnot. So that's, again, all up in the air. I'm kind of debating that whole thing as well. So definitely stay tuned for all that. But like I said, stay tuned for the future videos on, I'm going to do a video on my final thoughts, all my wrap-up final thoughts on the EcoBoost after owning it for 1 year and 7 months, and, you know, my experience with it here, and all that kind of stuff, as well as, you know, a video of why, all the reasons why I'm making the switch from the EcoBoost to the GT. And then finally, of course, I will be doing videos in the GT, and it'll be just like this. I'll be doing weekly updates of my experiences with the GT, as well as you know, any kind of other things I do with it. I do actually want to do more adventurous stuff with it, because since I will have full faith in the car and it'll have a full warranty and stuff, I do want to do you know, some more road trips and actually do things like possibly some mild road rallies and stuff like that, that I was you know, too nervous to really do with this, and so that's stuff that, you know, you can look forward to as well. And give me any ideas that you guys might have as far as, you know, stuff you'd be interested in seeing too. I'm obviously always looking to hear, you know, more thoughts from you guys as far as what you want to see. I definitely want to, you know, give you guys the kind of stuff that you enjoy watching. And so yeah, that's basically it. But you know, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Again, not a big deal. It's you know, you'll see, you know, more info on the car and all the options on it and all that kind of stuff, you know, very soon. But just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up, because, you know, there were, you know, a lot of you that supported the Fund Anything campaign for this car, you know, a year and a half ago, and you know, I'm very appreciative of that, and you know, that will continue to carry on. That lives on, you know, with all future cars that I'll own and stuff, and you know, that was able to, you know, put me in a position to continue to do weekly updates and continue to do interesting and entertaining videos for you guys with you know, the EcoBoost here, instead of, you know, doing weekly updates on a used Honda Civic or something. Instead, I was able to, you know, give you guys hopefully exciting videos, show you what it's like with an EcoBoost, what it's like to own an EcoBoost, give you a lot of insight into the ownership of it, and show you what it can do with some bolt-ons and the impressive increases in fun and in the horsepower and torque numbers and stuff that you can get here with the Cobb Stage 3 package and many others like it. And you know, just the wonders that a tune simply does on these cars is really impressive. And just because I'm moving on to a GT doesn't mean that I think that the EcoBoost is any less impressive. It's still a very, very awesome platform, and you know, I think as long as you don't get an early production one like mine, you shouldn't have any of the paranoia or any of the issues. And I think that this is going to be a really stout platform, and you know, it's a really fun one. It's absolutely phenomenal to drive still, and it's still a blast. So anyway, yeah, I'll send it over to Meet the News Desk for this week's news, but be sure to watch for the last acceleration here at the end of the video. Right, for this week's news, the first thing is, remember how on the 2017 Subaru BRZ page that I was talking about a few weeks ago, there was a little teaser at the bottom. It was like, more BRZ news coming soon. I was like, oh, maybe it's an STI version. Well, of course it's not an STI version, because it seems like Subaru will never give us an STI for whatever reason, BRZ STI. So what it is should come to no surprise. It is a Series.Yellow, which is much like the Series Hyper Blue that came out last year, except this time it's yellow, and this time it's based on the 2017 BRZ, which is the lightly refreshed one that I talked about, you know, again a few weeks ago. And you know, it's just in yellow, so either you like yellow cars or you don't. So I mean, it's cool though. It is based on the new performance package as well that you can get on the BRZ Limiteds for 2017 and up, which have the Brembo brakes, the Sachs dampers, and then these unique 17-inch black wheels. And you know, I mean, it's cool, you know, if you're into yellow cars and stuff, but again, just a special paint color, honestly, and pretty disappointing, honestly. You know, I mean, yes, they just refreshed it, and we only got 5 horsepower, and that's, you know, rough, and we're still just, you know, waiting for a faster version. But in the meantime, Subaru thinks they're going to keep our interest with a special color. They're only making 500 of these, and so for those that really always wanted a factory yellow BRZ, you now have your dream. So for everyone else, though, we'll just continue to wait, because that's all we can do. And some other Japanese car news. A car that has really not had much interest in the past few years is the Honda CRZ, which I reviewed a long time ago, and it was a fun little car, but it was just simply too slow. And again, here's a perfect example. Honda never gave the car more power. Now, you could get an overpriced supercharger system that was like a somewhat aftermarket supplied by Honda thing, but it was so expensive and probably wasn't worthwhile. And so because the CRZ just didn't appeal to anyone, honestly, they are going to be discontinuing it. And so they're rolling out a special final edition for Japan that just has special, you know, limited edition badges and final edition embroidered on the back of the seats and that kind of stuff. And that's all the, you know, it is. And it's kind of sad, but again, you have to give the customers what they want. Why would you build a car and then everyone's begging you to do stuff to it and you don't do those things? Like, you don't give the customers what they want, and so this is what happens, is they get discontinued. Now, I thought the CRZ was actually a really cool little car. It handled really well, just did not have the power. And it seems like it's not just us in America that are obsessed with horsepower, because in Japan it didn't sell well either, and that's why they're phasing it out here. So who knows, maybe they'll come out with a newer, faster version at some point. It was a really cool idea, you know, a manual transmission hybrid, you know, sporty car that was supposed to kind of be a successor to the awesome CRX, and unfortunately, it's coming to an end here, but it did have a good long life for those that did enjoy it. Speaking of something else that doesn't make much sense this week, there's another thing. Mopar is, you know, obviously the performance arm of Dodge and Chrysler, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, there's the cool Ram Rebel, which is, you know, a more aggressive looking version of the Dodge Ram. And so, this past week, it was announced that they're doing a new version of it that's going to be an addition. It's called the Mopar Ram Rebel. It's a separate thing from the standard Rebel. You can still get a regular Rebel, but if you'd like to pay $6,000 more, they'll give you some stripes and make it look slightly more aggressive with larger plastic fenders there with the rivets and stuff that all the truck guys seem to be into these days. And that's basically about it. It's like an appearance package. It doesn't have any other performance stuff. It's the same engine, all that kind of stuff. But yes, they have decided that should cost an extra $6,000. I mean, I'm sure anyone that wants to make their Ram Rebel look more, you know, aggressive could do so very easily for much cheaper and just would rather do it themselves anyway. So, yeah, but, you know, the Ram Rebel, the standard Rebel, is still pretty cool and a pretty good bargain at, you know, $46,000 and change, but this one being almost $52,500 for not much difference, and that's before you can even add on more Mopar stuff if you want, but just kind of crazy that they're charging that much more, but hey, cool to give people options at least. In other Fiat Chrysler news, Maserati unveiled a refreshed 2017 Quattroporte, which gets revised styling with a different grille and front and rear bumpers. And the biggest news, I think, here is the interior, which gets a new 8.4-inch screen to replace the 7-inch screen. And I believe it's a Uconnect-based system, but they say it now uses a rotary dial to go through the menus and stuff, which seems like a backwards leap from the very easy-to-use Fiat Chrysler-derived system. But it does look very nicely integrated there into the new interior and looks really good. The engines and everything are all unchanged, and pricing is yet to be announced, but will be coming soon. But they said these new ones are actually going to be available, I think, within the next month here. So coming out very, very quickly, and so cool to see that. An interesting other luxury thing is BMW and all the BMW brands are going to be doing their Next 100, which is, them looking 100 years into the future at what their cars might be like. And the BMW version was pretty crazy with their Vision 100, and so now we have the Rolls-Royce Next 100 concept, and look at that. Looks really interesting from the front end dead on. It almost looks like a Formula 1 car with the way the wheels are separate and all you have are the control arms there, and pretty interesting. Looks really just absolutely crazy, but that actually does look really futuristic to me. I gotta hand it to them. I think it's a really, really cool concept. It's very outlandish, of course, but we're talking about 100 years from now. I mean, if you would have asked someone back in the year 1916 to predict what cars would look like today, they would be equally as clueless, I'm sure. So this is a pretty good guess, I think, pretty cool. You know, of course, the one really riveting thing about this is there is no steering wheel, there is nothing. And of course, autonomous cars should be pretty well established 100 years from now. But just kind of crazy to see that this Rolls-Royce just has like a sofa for people to sit in, and that's it. That's as far as the interior goes. And you have a big, screen there in front of you. But that's all that it has. And looks really cool, though, honestly. I love the way that looks. I think it's really sweet. So, just fingers crossed we'll still be able to drive some cars in the future. Another BMW brand concept is Mini unveiled the Mini Clubman All-4 Scrambler concept, which is just a more aggressive Mini that has these knobby tires. It takes inspiration from the BMW R9T Scrambler motorcycle, and so it's just got the same kind of treatment here. Rally lights and all that kind of stuff, and just a cool little thing. I mean, who knows? Maybe this might be a limited edition. Probably not with those tires, but some kind of limited limited edition version of the Clubman would be kind of cool, but just a concept, of course, but still cool to see that nonetheless. Now for some spy shots this past week. One of the cars that was spied was the new Kia GT, which is going to be, there was a concept a couple of years ago, and just recently they announced they're going to be making a production version of it. It's going to be 4 doors, and so it's basically, I think the way they're going about it is they want to make a budget M3, because this thing, it's, very rakish looking. Apparently it's going to be somewhat based on the Forte sedan. I'm not totally sure, but I think they're going to be trying to market this as like an upmarket Forte, but it's going to be an awesome sports sedan based off what we're hearing here. It's going to be rear-wheel drive. It's going to have a rakish, aggressive-looking body. You have a completely different platform so that it hopefully will handle very well and be a full-on performance sedan. And the good thing is they're not going to skimp on the engines either, because they're saying that there could be a range of 4- and 6-cylinder engines, but they said that there could be a twin turbocharged V6 that'll do somewhere between 365 to 400 horsepower. And again, Kia and Hyundai are the same kind of company, so all the cool stuff that Hyundai is working on, Kia can also use as well. And so this is actually going to be riding most likely on a shortened version of the Genesis G90 platform, which is the actual Hyundai Genesis. There's now the G90 and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be on that same platform, and should be pretty impressive. Again, it's going to probably be pretty cheap. Definitely a lot cheaper than a BMW, and it'll be really exciting to see how it actually drives, especially in the fast versions. But very exciting to see that, and hopefully, we're hearing we may see it at the Paris Motor Show here later this summer, or at another auto show like LA or something like that later in the year. But very exciting to see that. Jaguar was spied this past week testing their new JaguarPace crossover, which I guess what they're doing with their SUVs now is they're going to all be based. They're doing all the same exact stuff the Germans are, where now with Mercedes, and their SUVs and stuff like that, they're all based on the sedans, and so that's why you have the GLA and the GLC and the GLE and the GLS instead of just the GL and the ML and all that kind of stuff. And so Jaguar is doing the same thing. So we have the F-Pace, of course, which is based on the XF sedan. It's that same kind of class, just the SUV version. So now the J-Pace will be based, kind of the same idea as the XJ, and that means we'll probably be seeing some kind of E-Pace at some point based off, the XE sedan, and similar dimensions and pricing as that for those that want an SUV version of that. But right now we're seeing the J-Pace, which is definitely longer. Looks much like the F-Pace, but it does have a lower nose, and it's a little softer, I think, and a little less aggressive looking, but definitely a lot bigger. And so yeah, we're not totally sure what kind of platform it's riding on. It could be borrowing some parts from the Range Rovers and stuff like that, or this could simply be a stretched out version of the F-Pace that they have made here to make it a little more luxurious and spacious. Speaking of SUVs, Jeep was by this past week testing their new Patriot, which is going to be replacing both the old Patriot and the old Compass, which are both severely outdated, and I'm surprised it's taken this long. But they've been selling actually really well still, so I can't really blame Jeep for keeping them around as long as they have. But the new version here is coming, and we have spy shots of what it looks like. It's heavily, heavily camouflaged. But it does look good from what we can kind of decipher through the camouflage here. It looks like it's going to probably just be a baby version of the Grand Cherokee, most likely, and should, be a pretty good looking little thing. And inside, it looks very nice as well. It looks like a shrunken down Grand Cherokee. So a huge leap forward there, especially in the interior department. And so, yeah, not sure when we're going to see that, but it looks like it's not too far off from production, so it should be pretty soon. And the last story this week is actually about the Ford Mustang, and that is that it could turn into a police car in the UK. It was recently shown in police livery at a trade show for police vehicles and things like that. And a spokesperson said that they will have announcements soon, and just kind of was trying to tease it a bit. But it looks like most likely, it looks like some UK forces may be adding a Mustang to their fleet. So very cool to see that. But hopefully, that'll help them to catch some of these faster speeders. Not good news for those that do want to speed. So anyway, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So I'll send it back to me in the car. Alrighty, I'll leave you guys a nice look celebration like I always do. This thing is so fast still. Oh, it really is, and it sounds really cool. It definitely sounds like a 4-cylinder, but it sounds pretty awesome if you're into that. But it's been fun. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.